I'm a big fan of Elliot. I played with him as a teammate. I'm concerned, though. We haven't seen the real Elliot Yeo for the better part of 3 years now.
Then I noticed him come to the bench, and then there was this, but then there was the way that he presented himself. Now, clearly out of shape, and his standards have slipped.
Players were almost bristling at the fact that we were challenging them. Like, are they still the same team? And it was, no, we are. Just wait. You know, you wouldn't want to play us come finals. We'll be there. And they are. They're just not the same team anymore.
No one cares about excuses in footy because everyone's got them. Just play and win the games that you have to win, and they didn't.
I think the problems run deeper than personnel at the moment for the Western Bulldogs.
Just some of the basic stuff like this, Lordo, was pretty embarrassing.
No, you're spot on, and I think when you're a coach and you're talking about competing for longer in intensity, you're back at ground zero.
There are a number of players on our list to be re-signed, and Jordan's one of them. And what I'm determined to do is to make sure that Collingwood doesn't get in the position it was, where it had to eject players because of a salary cap crisis. That won't happen again under my watch.
But are you seeing similarities with the Leon Cameron situation and your own last year?
There are similarities. The contract's been worked out now internally, and the side aren't winning. So it's a bit of a perfect storm for change.
So some real overreaction to play out of that, Robbo. Leon Cameron can't escape the perfect storm.
No, natural. To be honest, I mean, Nathan Buckley spoke about it this morning. We've been speaking about it for 2.5 weeks now. I think we've referenced 4 or 5 times the similarities with Nathan Buckley. 1-5, not contracted. Jimmy Bartel, the football director, has spoken about it. Dave Matthews, the chief executive, has both spoken about it in the last week and a half. We are looking at a man who's highly popular, highly respected. I hate saying this, but he's not going to have a job. This is a drastic change, Jared. He's not going to have a job. So it plays out as it plays out. It was interesting. Do you sack him now, or do you wait? What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, I think there'd be a lot of questions being asked internally this week.
Big week. Jared, the Eagles' standards have slipped.
Yeah, that would be real, I think. They held things together so well through the period of adversity and absurdity in almost equal ways. And we lauded them when they beat Collingwood, quite rightly. They seem to have held that together. They were brilliantly led through that. And it's been utter collapse since. Didn't score for so long against Sydney at home and were uncompetitive against Port Adelaide. So individually and collectively, they lost their standards. They lost what they were striving for, that collective sense of purpose through the most difficult phase. What's impossible to answer is what the physical effects of COVID have been on individual players along the way, so I'm not going to sit in judgment on that. But what they were striving for, the pay-it-forward effect of adversity, that has evaporated on them over the past 2 weeks. And now they have to find a sense of what did Nick say last night? The sense of purpose through the next 16 weeks. They've got their big decisions to make. I feel silly asking you this question because you declared this, I reckon it was round 2 last year, but the conversation is the Tigers just aren't the same team.
Yeah, we all know that, and it's coming to fruition. They're playing some good footy because they're a proud group. I mean, they're the Warriors for, you know, bopping their way back to Coney Island for 5 years, the Tigers. You know, you want to take us on there, no problem. But always, Jared, age and your body, you're not built to play great football for longer than 5 years as a collective.
Yeah, the years condemn in football, don't they?
Yeah, that's a great line. It really does. Hey, they've been fantastic. I've said it early. No, they're not the same side. Players aren't the same. So anyway, Jared, 4. The Dogs have problems everywhere, real or overaction.
Yeah, that's real. The question in that is how much is solvable rapidly and how much is going to come to define the campaign. So there are the intangibles, and those stories are only ever told in hindsight. How has the club dealt with grand final defeats? And you spoke of the emotional highs and lows coming into the season, what impact that's having. And then there's the personnel. They're missing their fullback, they're missing their full forward, which they knew coming in, they're missing their ruckman. Their midfield is not what it previously has been in terms of the damage. They don't have the same dynamic aspect in their play that drove them to 6-0 and saw them live in the top 2. And now the ladder becomes a very real factor. So you say you ignore the wins and losses, they're 2 and 4 in a quest for the top 2. Well, the top 2's out of reach. The top 4 becomes a dream unless they straighten it out right now, and then you're in a tooth and nail struggle to reach the 8. So that's true. And it's on them to resolve it. And they've got Essendon now. So you wouldn't want to drop that game to Essendon, given the Bombers are not a team anywhere around contention. The Roos are only just hitting ground zero.
It's a really difficult question to answer, and you have to be inside the club. What we are seeing from the outside is no one likes uncompetitive performances, okay? And no one likes... If you're going to be uncompetitive, be uncompetitive for 15 minutes. Don't be uncompetitive for 2.5 quarters. You think, God, what is going on? What is going on? So they would think that they stripped the list of 30-odd players in 2 years, and they've got players there who are probably not up to AFL standard, but they're doing that as they build their list. Okay, but we need players just to fill holes, and I'm not naming anyone. Playing AFL is a tremendous achievement. But they've got players and they're managing it, so they're going to be bringing more kids in. But David Noble is having a lot of difficulty getting his team to play to the competitive standard which he wants. Now, the question soon will be asked. Is it the players or is it the coaching staff? What's going on? So, again, they're a big watch at the moment. We need more competitive performance. Question 6, Jared. Jordan De Goey will burst the pie cap again.
No, so that's an overreaction. The words of Jeff Brown were very clear yesterday, and Graham Wright has seen the damage that has done previously, and he's too good a list manager. But what it does mean, with the money committed to Grundy and top dollar played for Darcy Moore, and they've been really clear about that, is there is a cap on what the offer to Jordan De Goey is. He will get offered more money elsewhere, and Collingwood will have to come up with a responsible offer, both for the history that they've endured with a player and for their salary cap operation. The marketplace knows that if you are prepared for the Godfather offer, it will be more than Collingwood can manage, and that's okay. De Goey's decision is to stay and complete his long-term journey with Collingwood, and most players these days know that they can get more money elsewhere. It's not taking a pay cut, it's staying in a responsible manner. So it's entirely on De Goey. Collingwood will have a maximum figure that they can reach, and that'll be it. And I don't think there'll be too much haggling thereafter. It'll be, and I think it should be, it'll be a bit of a take it or leave it. This is a very good offer for you, but we can't go higher than that.